Hey guys, welcome to another session of FFBE Global News. So, just yesterday I swear, I was talking to Mortrix, member on my Discord server. We were talking about what the next event is, and we were saying that, okay, it could possibly be FF7 or Raid event. He was like, it's a collab, and he's like, please no, not Secret of Mana. Alright, now, as many of us who, maybe have Randy and is waiting for Secret of Mana, sadly it isn't, but happily, I think a lot of people will be excited about Nier Automata's return. Now, I swear about 2 months ago, I made a theorycraft video on A2 and 2B's kits on Global. And I want to mention this because, I do like to know that my predicting abilities are pretty decent in terms of game design. So a couple things I predicted in that theorycraft video is one, that Nier Automata will come soon. Right? It will come sooner than it is in the JP timeline. And I think it really fits. Now, judging by their skill sets and even some of the TMRs, I'm gonna assume their abilities are not 100% the same as in terms of JP's version of A2 and 2B. Now, to keep in mind, to give you further context, remember that A2 was a global exclusive at the time, and now that JP has imported or created A2, one of my questions for that theorycraft video was that, what happens to A2, because our A2 was a dual wielder. It didn't have it didn't have to get reworked from the ground up. Like, JP had a complete makeover of A2, completely different, but Global stuck with the A2 that they released like a year and a half ago, maybe now 2 years. But then, how does she become that 7-star? We're gonna take a look at the kits. We're gonna take a look at their TMRs and their STMRs. I'm gonna try to name as many differences as possible for you guys, so you guys know the difference. And now, obviously, if you guys have watched my JP videos, I know that it's a bit lacking lately, but you've watched my JP videos, you know that I was playing around with A2 and 2B. Both of them have pretty good potential, but I will say right off the bat that in JP, they were not meta changers. 2B was exciting because she was kind of like the strongest dual wielder at that time, but then now, JP's gone with CG Lightning, enhanced Reagan as well. So 2B kind of falls off completely, pretty much. And A2 wasn't even a game changer in JP, but I will say that they're nice to have. They're not weak. At least in JP, they're not weak. They're nice to have, very nostalgic, and obviously, who doesn't love Nier Automata? If you've ever played that game, which I ended up playing like only a couple months ago, so kind of bad for me, but I really enjoyed it. I wish I spent more time on it, but I probably will eventually, actually finish the entire game, as in 9S's storyline and also A2. Regardless, we do have all the other units back, and we're gonna get into their kits, but I want to spend most of the time talking about obviously our 5-star units, so since those are the ones that most of us will be investing in. I will also say this, many of you on YouTube have been messaging me for almost a year now. It's been like a great 9-10 months. Like, Jagan, do you think Nier Automata will have a 7-star version of A2 and 2B? And at the time I was like, no, and then JP has their thing, and everybody's just like, oh man, they're super hype. So even I know that some of you watching this, you guys told me that you're free to play, or you're like a minor dolphin, but for this one you're gonna ham out. So I'm gonna say right off the bat, is it worth it for nostalgia's sake? Do what you want. If you've been waiting for that long, waiting for a year, and you've been good, you haven't been spending like all your lapis on everything, but you're saving for the day that this would come. Hopefully you guys get what you want. Hopefully you guys get it. I really wish you guys get it, because you guys really deserve it. Alright, so the step up seems to be pretty decent as well, I would have to say. If you take a look at this, this is equivalent to 20,000 lapis per full 5 steps. Step 1 and step 2, you get a 4-star guaranteed. So if RNG is with you, you solidify and you get your 9S really quick. And step 3, they left in that random guaranteed rainbow, which is really good. Generally I think in these collab ones, 20,000 lapis, 5 steps, I think you get a 30% ticket in the center, or is it 10%? I don't know. I don't remember off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure like the past two collabs, VP and oh no, I think no, never mind. Valkyrie Profile had it, but I think Deus Ex didn't have this. They kind of like removed it and then like made it 4 steps, so it wasn't even that good. But this is good bang for buck. At the end of the day, you spend if you pull all 3 laps. Oh what? No, limited 4 per player. 4 laps, guys. 4 laps hype. Wow. Okay, so Global is doing something. I was just gonna say like, oh, you spend 60,000 lapis, you get them all. But no, 80,000 lapis compared to 3 laps of 75,000 lapis, an additional 5k, and you're almost guaranteed either a 7-star of each, or at least, you know the math. If you're unlucky and you get the guaranteed at the end, you perhaps get 2 of them at 7-star. Now, I will be pulling on these step ups. I will say this right off the bat. I have A2, I have 3 of her, and then 1 2B, which kind of makes it more difficult if I'm chasing STMRs, which you guys know I would probably do that. Especially A2's STMR, really good for large sword users. Now, you know, some people can say that, well, Katana is the meta later. We don't know, man. This is Global. I seriously, Global's throwing all these things at us that it's super hard to predict what Global is going to do next. I mean, this step up is pretty decent. It's not as good as JP's, I would say. It's not as good as JP's. JP's had a 3-step, I think 15,000 lapis, and then you can already land it guaranteed. But you can only pull that once, if I'm not mistaken. You can only pull that once. I mean, I don't remember my own content. I make too much content too fast. But yeah, there's a JP video, a poll video on the A2 and 2B. I'm pretty sure it was 15,000. You get a guaranteed 1, and then there's like a rate up in between or something. I remember I got like 1 of each, I think, at the end of it. I had to pull some tickets to be able to get get both of them at 7-star, but here, I mean, I spent a lot front end, like when the first banner was released, so I need 1 more A2 for an STMR, and obviously 3 2B, which is going to be the hard chase. It's going to be definitely a hard chase. I don't know what I'll do if I get to A2 too quickly, but here's to hoping I get 2B early on. So, okay, anyways, 80,000 lapis, much more manageable for 4 laps, man. This is interesting, because I gotta say, I gotta hand it to Global here. I don't see a downside of this, except if you are free to play or you have limited resources. Then this is kind of bad. And if you compare to JP, you'd be like, oh man, 15,000 lapis, you get it guaranteed. It's so much easier. Here you have to spend 20,000 lapis to get it guaranteed. It is much harder. I do get that too. But I will have to say, from a whale's perspective, this is a whale's dream, because of 4 first time 4 per player. If they're gonna do this, I'm gonna say something. If they're gonna do this for all limited collabs in the future, I would say this is the best way to go. You know, it's a good thing. It's a good thing. People were complaining about the VP split banner, about the Halloween banner. Even though that's not a collab, but still limited. Like, this kind of step up system would have made a lot of people happy, but too bad, it kind of sucks. But we're talking about A2 right now. So one thing about the A2 and 2B kit scenario was that our A2 in Global was a dual wielder, and so at the time, very early on, when I was doing the theorycraft video, I was saying that, how are they going to change it. I'm pretty sure they will still give her true double hand, but because she was a dual wielder innately, she'll probably have some true dual wield bonuses, and I'm still going to hold on to that. I still think that is the case. Her STMR will not really change the fact that being a true dual wielder or a true double hand unit, it won't change anything, because it's a 80% attack when equipped with a large sword, and then physical and magic damage dealt with two machine monsters, 50%, but that's according to JP. I do have JP's kit opened up here. One of the things is, though, that her Trust Mastery is a 125 attack large sword. As you can see, because this was created early on in the meta, at that time this large sword was one of the best ones. But now, obviously, if you have a true double hand unit, even a 3-star unit like Conrad with revolving saw already beats this in terms of attack. And the enable of Beast Roar is not even that great. It's a one hit AOE, 4.5 times physical damage mod. It's not great. It's kind of like a Blade Blitz, that TMR, or that skill rather. So it's, I mean, it's not nothing game changing. The only thing that can save her with the current TMR in mind is the STMR quality of life change in the future, which is that if you get a super trust mastery, you have it equipped on the unit that it came from, you're going to get the same trust passives, so you can totally like remove her trust mastery. That would only be the thing that saves her, but that's in the future though. How does Global save her now? I'm not quite sure. The only thing that they can really do is update the modifiers when locked to her own TMR. Now, in JP, they really didn't give her such a good trust ability, and I do think it's because that even in JP standards, 143 attack large sword wasn't that good. I mean, if you compared Global, Squall's TMR is already at 150 attack. I know in JP it's 140 attack, but in Global it's 150 attack. So how do you compare that, right? How do you compare that? The trust ability in JP is when you equip the sword, you get 40% attack. Okay, that's pretty good. Passives. You get a 10% chance to dodge physical attacks, so 10% evasion for physical, and then a 50% machine killer. You mean, see, that doesn't sound too amazing, even in JP standards, right? When you keep in mind that when A2 and 2B were released in JP, we already had Sighton, we already had an Axstar. So you have to compare that kind of meta. I'm kind of glad, and I'm kind of sad that they introduced them right now in the meta on Global. I would say that A2 and 2B, where they are currently in JP, if they're slotted right here in Global's meta, because we have Draco Laswell, because we have all these Global exclusive units, and even with Christmas coming up soon, which is next month, I'm gonna assume some game changers there. These guys, the A2 and 2B, won't be broken right now. I think if they were exactly the same as their JP counterparts, they will be slightly stronger than, like, let's say Hyo. Like A2 will be stronger than Hyo, okay, like stuff like that, but it won't be like oh, she's like the next level Axstar, like slotted in this meta right now. Even though some people may argue that Draco Laswell is pretty good, like they call him mini Axstar, which I have to say he is definitely very close in terms of damage, other than he can't stack his abilities. But anyways, we'll continue on. So it seems, I'm looking at like comparing the cooldown abilities to JP, and it seems that it's different. Okay, so this says Inorganic Blade, one use every 5 turns, boost own attack and defense for 3 turns. Okay, enable finisher and heavy attack for 5 turns, and automatically revive caster 1 time. So there's a instant revive on it. So this doesn't really look like anything on JP's side. There is one. Okay, so there's two things on JP's side. There's 2 cooldown abilities. One is a plus 4 times damage mod to most of her main skills, and also for 5 turns, and also enables access to some new skills. And then triple cast for 4 turns. I think. Yeah, after you use it, yeah, triple cast. So I'm not quite sure. Like, is this doesn't read the same? It's not the same thing. You're not getting improve like power of some specific attacks or whatever. I know that there's some cooldown abilities that read like that, but this is a buff, like attack and defense. There's an auto revive attached to it. I'm not quite sure what that is. Avoid heavy attack. There's a break here, which is not found in JP's A2 either. So this is new. I really don't know what this is. So this is avoid heavy attack. Avoid heavy attack, damage and reduce attack and magic for 1 enemy. I'm not sure if this is going to be a chaining skill. It's a 1-hit skill. I'm not quite sure. There's nothing like this yet. Yorha double slash. So obviously she becomes a true double hand unit, at least potentially true double hand unit. Now we know that CG Lightning, being true dual wield, also is able to enable dual cast, but on certain abilities. It's the same here. We don't have any information on which abilities these would be, but I'm going to assume it's going to be similar to JP. Now it does seem, like I said, it does seem like there's a lot of skills that are different, But whether or not they would give Global's A2 like a complete makeover, I'm not quite sure. I mean, the STMR itself is exactly identical, so I don't know if they'll do that for this A2. Either way, I'm excited to get her STMR if I can, if I'm lucky enough, to get her STMR, but also to try her out, because honestly, I really, it was one of the most curious things I was thinking of before when I was creating that theorycraft video, is that how are they different? I really want to see them. And because I really did love them on their release, I knew, like, I'm gonna repeat this again. If you're looking for meta changing units, I don't think this is the banner for you. I don't think this is a banner for you. If you're looking for hype, if you're looking for nostalgia, this is the banner for you. You have to pull on it. You have to pull on it. I don't think this is gonna come back anytime soon. If they push this up the timeline, I don't think it's gonna come back during the time of JP's release. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think there's any reason to, unless they just really want to milk it. But who knows? This is Gumi. They could possibly. 2B, her kit is also different too. I'm looking at this and I'm like, what? I don't know, man. They could be good and they could be bad. But one thing before I move on, I will have to say that I'm hoping they were going to be better than JP's in terms of longevity, in terms of usefulness over time. Because they're slotted now earlier, I'm hoping that they're not gonna be, you know, like capped to current meta. You know what I mean? Like at least give them JP's power or even higher, right? Like, I'm hoping for that. 2B, I think, will remain a true dual wield unit as her base, but even in JP, if you make her true double hand, or rather double hand in this case, with her TMR, she becomes an insane LB finisher. And most of you guys know, if you guys do have 2B or you know about 2B, you know that her LB is like 10 hits. It's chainable and it's very powerful. So if you have a power, if it's the same kit as JP and you have that level of power and LB mods, that's how she gets her LB so crazy. LB mods, then you're gonna have a lot of fun with her. She also can equip throwing weapons, so fixed dice, right? So that was one of the things that made her really cool in the beginning. Now, I don't know if she's gonna have double or dual cast, right? It's not shown on this list of previews here. I highly doubt it. If she is, for the current time, if fixed dice remains unnerfed and is currently unnerfed, obviously, then she's gonna be one of the strongest units right now, if she gets dual cast. But I highly doubt it. We'll take a look at the STMR now. This is kind of weird. The wording: boost attack by 40% when equipped with a sword, katana, or spear. Not and. I'm not quite sure how other TMRs is trying to reflect that you get a 40% passive on both weapons. I'm not sure if it's worded this way, so you guys could potentially correct me if I'm wrong. But how JP words it is 40% attack when equipped with a sword, 40% attack when equipped with a katana, 40% attack when equipped with a spear, and then you had a 50% man-eater, and also enables or not to be. Okay, so enables or not to be. I don't necessarily remember what not to be or not to be is. Actually, I'm looking at the kit here on JP, and I don't remember. I remember I covered it during JP's banner release because there was information on it. But regardless, I think it was like some kind of lightning attack or something like that. I'm not quite sure. Some kind of imperil or break. I think that was it. So you might be saying, hey, that's not that good. If the wording is 40% attack with all the weapons equipped, so like if you dual wield like a sword or katana, you get an 80% attack. If it is that with a 50% man-eater, it's going to be one of the best man-eater equipment for true dual wield units, especially in the future. So potentially she could be really good with it. And like I said, her Trust Master, even though she has a trust ability right now, with that STMR quality of life change, then you can definitely get pretty good stuff with just the STMR equipped, and then kind of remove her TMR for like a better katana. So like so I guess Sephiroth's katana will still be really good, and if we do get Xenogears, Saiten's STMR for 176 attack. So it's gonna be pretty decent all around. It probably dual wield, if Saiton's SCMR comes, it probably dual wield that with I don't know, who's spear? Perhaps Duke's spear? Duke's spear or Lightning's sword. That's currently. Featured abilities: Supreme Support Weapon, one use every 7 turns. Let's see, reduce attack, defense, magic, and spear for all enemies. So it's a break. It's a cooldown ability break, which is a cooldown skill. Breaks are usually really strong and boost attack and defense for caster. Enable avoid attack, true charge blade, true charge spear, and true charge vault for 5 turns. For 5 turns, I'm looking at it right now. So her two cooldown abilities, I'll read them right now so we could do a comparison. 2 cooldown abilities: self 250% attack and defense buff for 5 turns, and also has self 40% damage mitigation for 5 turns, and also enables avoid attack, and then a couple things for 5 turns. So it seems to be about the same, except that this one has a break. This one has a break. If the attack and defense buff is 250%, just like JP's, then we got the better deal because it breaks and buffs at the same turn. So depending on the break percentage, it costs 100 MP in JP. Depends on the break percentage. It might be pretty good. Like, if you consider like per unit basis, like what can a unit do for turns of damage by himself or herself, like without any support, without anyone else, like including like if that unit can buff, break, imperil, and imbue, that unit generally is really strong in terms of meta. Now 2B can imbue, can imperil, can break now apparently, and can buff herself. And she can use fixed dice. Now, if she had dual cast, you see what I mean? If she had dual cast, she's the best unit ever. Now, obviously, you're just saying like, Dragon, you never run them solo, but what if you do, right? You have to consider that because that's a unit slot efficiency. That's just like, flexibility all around. And if they're all good modifiers, like good breaks, good buffs, she's gonna be incredible. I have to say that if she is stuck as a dual wield unit, she won't be super strong until we get CG Lightning, unless they change her, right? Unless they change her, she has a 50% lightning. Don't know. Single target 65% lightning debuff. Yeah, so that's really strong. Pod charge A150 Volt. She has a 65% lightning debuff. Okay, we talk about the second one here. Yorha Sword Dance. Lightning damage, reduce attack, defense, magic, and spear for 1 enemy, and enable extract speed and Yorha Slaughter Dance for 3 turns. Oh, Yorha Slaughter Dance, man. The name, man. Oh, that's awesome. I love it. I love the word slaughter. There's some weight to it, Jagan's not a psychopath, confirmed. It's a 16 hit. Oh wait, single target 16 hit. Why does this say 16? Okay, so I'm reading the JP kit. It says 16 hit, 15 times physical attack, single target 65% defense break for 3 turns. But then it says with 1 hit lightning. I'm not quite sure what I'm missing here. 1 hit lightning skill. If it's a lightning finisher. Yeah, anyways, it reads 16 hit, single target 16 hit, 1500% physical attack modifier. So it's 15 times, very strong, but also breaks on the same turn. But this one all has a full break. So 65% defense break was in JP's. We have a full break. Is that a full break of 65%? That would be really crazy. That would be like, if you don't have a 7-star Lauren, that would be like almost Lauren level while doing damage, and you can do that for two of them. So I mean, you could technically swap around the cooldown skills, like save the cooldown skills when you're gonna break, and yeah, which is gonna be interesting to figure out. Now 2B was very complex, I would say, to figure out her rotation in JP, and I think it's more so in the case for global. True charge blade, damage all enemies 3 times and fill own LB gauge. So I think this is a new skill as well. So it's a 7-star skill, as you can see. I don't think this is in JP either. Looking at linked abilities. Okay, I think it is. It's in there. Yeah. Yeah. So this is in JP. AoE, it seems to be a 10 times mod. So after doing the cooldown skills, you enable this skill, you get a 10 times mod. It's a 3 times 3 hit. So it's a 3 hitter, but you hit 3 times, you get a 9 hits. Now, if it's the same as the one in JP, it's really not chainable. Like, I don't even think you can chain with the dupe, but I may be mistaken. Because, like, the frames go like this, like, hit, like that. So it's not a really easily chainable skill. So, I mean, you might say, like, ooh, 10 times mod, man, that's massive. But if it's not even chainable with a copy, we'll have to test, but it also self-fills, LB gauge. So yes, this seems to be exactly the same, identical as the JP. Is 62 MP cost, 7-star, of course. Alright, so we have some differences in Eve. So in JP, Eve was also the first time released. Eve was a global exclusive at the time, and on JP they had to kind of recreate him. Now, I didn't really take a look at Eve's full kit in JP, whether or not he was like up to par, but he's a 4-star unit. I'm not quite sure. His Trust Master ability wasn't that good. I think it was like something to do with attack, like is it like 40% attack or something instead of a 30% HP. I said it then, and I'll say this now, that I would prefer globals. 30% HP on this, if you're pulling on this and you're like free to play or you're a minor dolphin, is really good. This is like, it is not patriotic recall, this is not thirst for survival, but having an extra 30% HP, you know, there's no harm in it. Especially if this is a raid event, you're gonna get this TMR for free. So I would say definitely, if you pull a couple copies of him, save him until you fuse all of your raid Moogles, and then fuse them together. Otherwise, yeah, really good, pretty good TMR for that time, and I would say it's still pretty good. Like, I still use it for 10 man. I still use it all the time. 9S, now pod 153, is it still meta? At the time, it was like one of the best things. You slot this on 2 of your units and you got a chainer no matter what. If you have them in the right unit slots, it's a moving chaining skill. If you have them in the right unit slots, you can finish off the chain, dual casted. So dual wielded. So both the cast of the skill Mirage. So R20 Mirage damage all enemies is really good. It's a 10 frame skill, so it means like it kind of could chain with a couple people, but it's not perfect. I think pod has its own like beginning frames, so it won't be perfect unless you get a 2 pods. But again, if you are pulling on this banner, more than likely you're gonna get at least 2 9S, maybe. Hopefully you get 2 9S. That would be really easy for you. But it would be really fun to run like a full arena team of your units also having Mirage. Now evasion is a thing, but a lot of people don't run evasion anymore because true double hand is a thing. So it's like kind of like rock paper scissors. You kind of gotta take a gamble at it. But you know, in the past I have been wrecked in the arena by 5 Ayakas. Man, whale much? 5 Ayakas at the time of Nier Automata release, and all of them had pod 153. And at least like 3 or 4 of them casted Mirage. I was just really unlucky that day, and I just got owned. Ayaka has killed me. Okay. Jeez. Anyways, it has a couple skills in it, and I would say it's still one of like a really good TMR. I still use it on some of my support units. Albeit I'll have to say that it's kind of falling off the meta. With all the chain partners available now in our game, you won't really see it, but you know, it's good to have, and I would say that you know, it's still useful. So like say A20 repair, gradually restore HP for all allies. Nice to have, but not necessary anymore. A170 scanner is really good. Boost drop rate of items from enemies. I believe this is not the rare type, this is like the regular. So if you run, I think it's like a 50%. So if you run 2 people with pod, and let's say you have the Great Raven's Cape, you have 100% rare and like regular loot covered for your drop, so you don't even have to run Zon. But you know, Zon is good for the Gil and Waylay, etc. But yeah, you don't even have to run it. So like, let's say for story events, you want to get higher drop rates, you don't need it. P shield is still pretty good. 40% damage mitigation, physical damage mitigation for 2 turns. So that means it's stackable with the global damage mitigation. It's still very useful, and that's why I do still keep it on. Let's say I have Ace as a support unit. I usually keep it on Ace. Very good to have on his off turns. We don't need to really get into 9S. I mean, he used to be a good breaker at the time, like 50% breaks, and spread shield is really good. It's a 30% global damage mitigation, and along with his P shield, if you have him as your support unit, he was a really good support at the time. Mechanical Heart. Now this thing still doesn't get old. It's still really good to have, especially more for arena shenanigans now. With the amount of spirit that we can get in our units, like Lilith and Awakened Rain, they will be able to self-regenerate healing for, I don't know, like I think on JP when I equipped it on them, I think it was like 1400 to 1600 HP, which could be really good. I mean, if they're a tank and they're absorbing like a ton of damage, they're just gonna keep like spamming this. It's gonna be really annoying to kill. But it also has a 15% HP and spirit already on top of it, which was what makes Mechanical Heart such a good TMR. I have so many, too many that I can use, but I'm pretty sure I'm just gonna get a couple more, so I'll probably finish off a couple more just for keepsake. And that's it for this banner for now. And we have our raid event. Destroy the machine life form, exactly the same like JP, exactly the same as Global's first release, Angles. So, best part about this raid is awesome music. Alright, I love Bipolar Nightmare, one of my favorite tracks in Nier Automata's soundtrack. While there's still others, of course, but Bipolar Nightmare, when I first heard it, when I first played the collab, I had not played Nier Automata. But after I heard that music, I'm just like, I have to find it. I have to find the soundtrack. And then just for months, I just played the entire soundtrack over and over while I was working, which is fun. I don't know if I want to get into this. There's not much here. This is all out of date equipment. But again, if you're new, I would say that Emil's head is probably the only one that's worth it right now. And you can only craft 1 per raid. So, I mean, by the time of people who are playing this raid for the second time, you're gonna get 2, I think. Yeah, because it's a helmet and magic 15%. You're not gonna get a helmet with magic anytime soon, unless they create another, global exclusive or some kind of collab or unit. It's good for Golbez in the future. Because Golbez, I think, can only wear helmets. I don't think he can even wear hats. Yeah, I don't think so. Golbez, like the new Golbez, not the 3-star Golbez. Yeah, I'm not gonna talk about any of these. There's not much. I mean, you guys can read it and you guys can do your own assessment. For the time, before, Cruel Oath was also a really good katana, free, 105 attack, almost as good as Genji Blade. So at the time, it was really good, but it's no longer that good. We'll move on. Yeah, so it's a regular raid event. I don't think anything else has changed. I don't know. Yeah, you can get Adam. 6-star. Right, he was always a 6-star. Wait. He was a 4-star base, right? Yeah, he's a 4-star base. Okay, so yeah, you can get him to 6-star. Okay. Not much here. Again, for nostalgia, I mean, if you get Adam for free, yay. His TMR, Vengeful Wrath at that time was also really good, combined with Eve, because if I ran out of 30% material, I had 20%, but otherwise, no. Currently, the TMR is not meta, but it's free. So if you're new, it's a good place to start. A really good one to start. Highly new difficult quest, Trial of Vengeance. Ugh. I'm super scared of Hasiko, man. Like, seriously, man. She's gonna be crawling out of my TV soon. Alright? Because of, like, man, she is very scary. I think she's gonna be the same. Let's see. Dark and light elements are effective against her. Okay, dark and light. Kill the spirits around her to reveal her true weakness, but watch out for her strong attack afterwards. Okay, so this is something different. You might have a tough time if you don't build up your resistance against stone. Alright, does she have mana burn? Does she have MP drain? MP burn? I hope not, because that was the most annoying part. We've had enough of this. I think people are complaining about it. While it's not impossible, it is definitely more difficult, I think, for newer players. 4-star. So yeah, you get a 5% Moogle, and you get another one, so 10% after doing this. 100 lapis, good. 2 rare summon tickets, perfect. And then get a chain, 5 or more. Photo locket, 22 spirit, 15%. Not terrible, but oh man, that is scary. The eyes are scratched out. I'm leaning toward my screen because I'm looking at it. Oh, getting the creeps. If it wasn't for the FFBE lobby music, I'd be like pretty creeped out. And we also have a new 10-man trial coming up. We got Nunki, the Dragon of Concealed Affection. So she's a dragon apparently. I guess in her second form she becomes a dragon. Never fought her, as you guys will see. Going down the line, never fought her. I heard she was pretty easy though. I think she's a mix of dragon and human. So dragon and demon killer. So someone was mentioning, I think it was Gensu on Discord was saying that, oh man, time for Roberta to shine. And that was the first thing I thought of too. I was like, oh, she's a human / dragon. And I'm like, oh, well, Roberta. But, you know, I don't know. My Roberta's not even max level, so I'm not quite sure. Let me take a look at the replica. Kind of interesting. I mean, 83 magic on a whip. Not terrible. But it also enables Firaga. It's not Firaja, but Firaga, so not terrible to have. If you need to, let's say you have, like, you're running a full team of, actually no, you would run a mage if you have a whip on, I guess. I was gonna say, if you don't have, like, a magic damage dealer or fire damage, you know, this is good for, like, completing some, like, missions or whatnot, but this flame whip is pretty okay. 117 magic, but enables Firaja. I'm going to attempt this on day 1 of the release, as I usually do. But I don't think that these items are game-changing. I don't think they're game-changing. Like, isn't Marlboro's whip like just as good? Like off the top of my head, I haven't used Marlboro's whip in a long time, or Marlboro's tentacle rather. But I think it's like just as good, other than the Fire Raja, and it's a fire elemental. So I guess that could be interesting. Let's see here. Deal ice, lightning, wind, and earth damage to an enemy for 2 rare summon tickets. Defeat Nunki with a limit burst. Defeat Nunki's party within 5 turns. You get Dragon of Affection, boost magic by 40%, nullify poison and paralysis. Not a bad one. Not a bad one. I say that then this reward would be potentially what you're going for. I think the whip is kind of neglectable, but this ability technically is for free. As long as you can beat it, it's for free. It's good. I would definitely go for it. Definitely go for it. I mean, like unless you're at you know, you have other TMRs or even STMR levels, this is gonna be pretty decent for you. Because it has nullify poison and paralysis and the same thing. Yeah, as usual, 10-man trial. I don't need to explain how this game works. You could you could probably do it. So I think that's it for this one. And of course, after the maintenance, even before the banner is released, we get 7-star awakening of A2 and do 2B. So that's awesome. So a lot of people, I think, on release, they're already gonna get the STMR. Now, like I said, I can't yet until I get 1 more copy of A2, 3 more copies of 2B. So hopefully, I'll just get really lucky, and then I don't have to actually finish all the laps. I don't foresee myself just completing all the laps. If I already get their STMRs, there's like kind of no point for dupes. That is kind of too risky. I have to see though. I have to see. I don't know. Maybe at that moment, like, you know, if I'm really hyped, I'll do it. But I don't think I will at this time. I do just want to lock down their STMRs, and I think that's it. But yeah, for those of you who do have A2 and 2B on release, congratulations. Have fun with them. Following the maintenance on Thursday. So that is it for the news this week. I was like, I woke up and I looked at the in-game news. I'm like, what the heck? Nier Automata? Like, a lot of thoughts came across my head, and I think I already expressed them in this video. It's been a really long one. Holy crap, it's 40 minutes. 40 minutes long. Apologies. I got way overexcited. But yeah, A2 and 2B, let me know if you guys are gonna pull for them. I know, like, someone like Mortrix will say that it's a hard skip for him, unless their kits are different, unless their kits are game changing. Otherwise, Mortrix would say that, you know, you'll never use them in future trials, like all the Gilgamesh Kai, etc. You won't really use them. I would have to agree. I would have to side on that. Like I said before, I think you would only pull this for nostalgia, and also getting the 7-star upgrade is pretty hype, especially if you've had these units or wanted these units since the original release. I know a friend of mine, Kyle, if you're watching this, you're gonna want your 2B and A2, and I know he will. And I'm pretty sure he's gonna be sad that these guys came now, because I think he's really low on Lapis. I think. Anyways, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Are you hyped for it? Are you hyped for the differences? Are you worried about it? You know, whatever your comments, leave them below, and obviously, you know, I'll try to address them when I can, as usual. So I'm gonna end this here. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server, follow me on Twitter, and subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I hope this has been informative for you, and I'll see you guys next time.